Hey there, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process that you can use to get motorsport sponsorship. Check it out. Hey there, Chris Bayless here from the Sponsorship Collective. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process that our clients use to get motorsport sponsorship. Throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about a process, about strategies. I'm going to be talking about templates and systems, all of which you can download for free at sponsorshipcollective.com. So first of all, I want to clarify something. There's no such thing as motorsport sponsorship. There's only sponsorship. The fact that you are a motorsport team, enthusiast, practitioner is actually irrelevant. Sponsorship is nothing but audience and access to audience. From now on, I want you to think of yourself as a curator of audience, someone who engages with their fan base and gives them interesting, exciting, amazing, cool experiences that go beyond just putting a logo on your car, on your vehicle, on your helmet, on your toolbox. Sponsorship is not just about putting logos on stuff. While that's part of it, the real money is in building amazing activations or experiences for your fans. And I just want to set the record straight. We're not talking about free stuff. Sure, it's great to get free tires for the season. It's great to have a sponsor give you free oil changes. Sure. But when we talk about sponsorship, we're talking about cash sponsorship, revenue, money in the bank. So as you're watching this video, remember, we're not just talking about how to get free stuff so that your career or your hobby just costs you a little less. We're actually talking about making it a profit center. Sponsorship is a crowded space, and you need to be able to stand out from the crowd. A good friend of mine runs the marketing department for a major Fortune 500 company. And she and I were talking. She told me that she gets 10,000 unsolicited sponsorship proposals every single month. It's a crowded marketplace. And for you to be successful, you have to stand out from the crowd. Just being another place for companies to put logos is not going to get you the sponsorship dollars that you need, want, and deserve. So how do you stand out from the crowd? How do you look different than every other vehicle on the track? You have to know your audience. And when I say you have to know your audience, I don't mean that you have to understand the motorsport audience. In fact, the motorsport audience, the motorsport fan, is one of the most studied niches, personas, audiences there are. So it's not about knowing the motorsport audience. It's about knowing your fans, your audience, the people that you can connect with. Saying to a potential sponsor, hey, I'm just like every other vehicle on the track. Why don't you put your logo on me instead of on that guy? Is not a very compelling business case. But if you can say 17% of our audience is made up by people who fit this buyer persona, would you like to connect with them? Now you have the attention of brands and of sponsors. The power in so-called motorsport sponsorship is not that you can get in front of this mass audience, or at least not just that you can get in front of a mass audience. It's that you have your own fan base. You have access to people who care about you and who believe what you believe, who buy the products that you may endorse. You want to be able to connect a sponsor directly to your subset of the overall motorsport audience. How do you do this? You want to analyze your email database, your social media following, your web traffic, and your YouTube channel. You want to also know who's coming to your own VIP events, should you have any, your own cool contests, activations, etc. This is where your audience comes to hang out. One of our clients did some analysis of their database, just a really simple survey. And if you want a copy of the survey questions, head on over to sponsorshipcollective.com, click on free resources, and you can download a copy of the survey questions that our clients use. So this client of ours did a survey and discovered that they were over-indexed for females, for women in their database. These women had very specific hobbies, very specific interests, and were actually middle class to upper middle class. The women in question only made up around 15% of this person's overall fan base, their overall database, which isn't huge, but relative to the average motorsport fan, actually 15% of your database being female is significant. So rather than going to brands and saying, you can put a logo on our vehicle just like every other vehicle, they went to brands and said, would you be interested in connecting with the female motorsport enthusiast who makes this much money, prefers these brands, buys these cars, travels this many times a year? And it worked. The reason it worked is because the way to stand out from the crowd is to know your audience and know how your audience is different than the overall motorsport audience and how you can connect brands to that audience in meaningful ways. So once you know your audience, your niche audience, your subset of the greater macro motorsport audience, what you want to do is make amazing experiences for them. In other words, we're not just going to slap a logo on a helmet or slap a logo on a toolbox and just assume that this very specific audience is going to see that logo and that's going to be valuable to a sponsor. It isn't. What you want to do instead is create an amazing experience just for that audience, just for that buyer persona. And then you want to connect that experience to the sponsor. So the sponsor attracts exactly their audience. You create an amazing experience for that audience. You bring them both together. And as a result, your fans have a better time. They associate you with an amazing experience. And the sponsor is willing to pay a premium. One of our clients who was a drag racer found that in his database was overwhelmingly business owners, in particular construction business owners. And so he did a survey of this audience and discovered that in addition to being business owners, they were really interested in barbecue. So what did he do? He teamed up with a pellet grill provider as well as a whiskey and bourbon company and made an amazing VIP experience for entrepreneurs only to come and enjoy some barbecue, enjoy a couple drinks. Now, he didn't go to the bourbon provider and the pellet grill company, ask them for money. He went to an insurance company and asked them to sponsor the whole thing and make it possible. Amazing grilling experience, amazing bourbon tasting experience, attracting exactly the type of individual that the insurance company wants to sell products to. So he was able to cater this experience perfectly to his audience, add a ton of value back to that audience, and connect that audience to a sponsor that solves a real problem they have. Anyone in business knows you have to buy insurance, you have to hire accountants, and you have to hire lawyers. It's just a fact. If he was just trying to slap a logo on his vehicle and get in front of the same 10, 20,000 people that every other motorsport team can get in front of, really not that attractive. But because he was able to serve up exactly the audience the sponsor was looking for through an activation tailored to that audience, he was able to stand up from the crowd, give that sponsor an opportunity they really couldn't get anywhere else, and charge a major premium for this opportunity. Speaking of charging a major premium, you really have to know your value. You have to know what it's worth to sponsor you. I actually think of logo placement on vehicles or fire suits or helmets or toolboxes. I think of these types of sponsorship assets as a race to the bottom because everyone does it. And as a result, the supply is very high, the demand is static, and so the sponsor can really drive down the cost or value of logo placement. The things that are most valuable are things like sampling rights, collecting lead information like phone numbers and emails, getting people to sign up for trials, speaking opportunities. Like these are the most valuable things in sponsorship, not logo placement. And so to know your value, you really have to be able to answer the question, what would a sponsor, what would a brand have to pay if they were to get the exact same outcome somewhere else? So if this insurance company wanted to bring together 50 construction business owners to give them a really cool experience and talk to them about their insurance needs, how much would it cost them? The answer is it would cost them a lot. Not only that, the individuals would show up thinking that they were going to be pitched to, so their resistance would be high. The fact that you can bring your audience together in an environment where they trust you, they know you, they like you, they know that you're going to create a good experience for them, that adds a ton of value to the overall experience. So to do a valuation, you really need to know what sponsors are paying on the free market for the same assets, the same experience, the same outcome. Now, if you head on over to sponsorshipcollective.com, we also have a valuation calculator template that you can use to come up with a back of the napkin value. But as a general rule, you're probably not charging enough for your sponsorship opportunities. And the reason you're probably not charging enough is because you're using an outdated gold, silver, bronze package and you're just putting logos on everything. Maybe you're doing a couple of social media posts and that's it. As a result, the reason your value is so low is because you're offering low value opportunities. And the reason sponsors aren't interested is because they can buy these assets for literally pennies per view on the free market. So let's talk about the sponsorship proposal. First of all, I like to think of proposals in two distinct forms. The business case, which is something you can share with a potential sponsor before a meeting, and the proposal, which can only be sent after the meeting. If you put dollar amounts and dollar figures in this document, it is a proposal. And therefore, you shouldn't be sending it to anyone until you've already had a discovery meeting. If you haven't met with them and negotiated, then you have absolutely no idea what to charge them or even what they want to purchase. So let's talk about the business case, which is the document that you can send to potential sponsors before the meeting. The business case should be at least 50% audience data. You should have no less than 25 data points for each of your audience personas, your niches, your buyer personas. You should have at least 3 of these personas in your proposal. You want to be able to talk about your macro audience, your digital following, your social media presence, and you want 25 plus data points of your audience. You also want to be able to provide case studies of cool things that you've done with sponsors and activation ideas. The business case should absolutely never contain a grid labeled gold, silver, bronze, or any other tiers. The business case should not have pricing. It should not have amounts. All it should have is audience data, really cool activation ideas and samples, your overall media footprint, your social media footprint, your digital presence, and it should have some case studies if you have them. That goes to a potential sponsor so that they can see that you've got the audience that they're after. The idea that if you send a proposal with a grid and a whole bunch of values thrown in there, completely made up, the idea that a sponsor is going to see this and you will have just guessed perfectly at exactly what they wanted to buy to achieve their marketing goals, the idea that this could ever happen is wrong. Business case gets you the meeting. You have the conversation with the potential sponsor, come up together with the activations they're interested in. Then you go to a proposal. That proposal has market tested values. That's the process. I much prefer reaching out with a simple email, a quick phone call to potential brands, seeing whether or not you have a fit. And if the answer is yes, then you do a full discovery meeting and come up with a proposal together. Our most successful clients never send a proposal first, and they almost never send a business case first. It's always meeting first. And in my sponsorship sales career, where I sold literally tens of millions of dollars worth of sponsorship, I rarely even had a proposal. We just met, discussed, came up with a solution, an activation, and a value together, then I went straight to agreement. So a sponsorship proposal and a business case are not required by any stretch. So if your entire sponsorship program is based around the idea of sending people sales material and hoping they'll buy, this is exactly why your sponsorship program isn't working. Let me share with you a really simple email that we use all the time to get the attention of sponsors. Our clients use all the time to get the attention of sponsors. Over at sponsorshipcollective.com, we've got a ton of email templates that you can just copy and paste. I prefer very short emails when I'm reaching out to prospects. So in this case, the subject would be, "Hey, Dave," or whatever their first name is. The body is, "Hi, Dave. I saw on LinkedIn that you're involved in the marketing side of company name. We recently surveyed our database and your company had a strong showing." Remember that sponsorship is nothing but audience and access to audience. So the first sentence I send in an email, I want to state explicitly that our audience is interested in your product. Critically important to success in sponsorship. Asking a company for money because they have money and you'd like some is a path to no sponsorship. Wondering if you have a few minutes to talk about what we found and whether or not our audience is one of your priorities. Any chance you're free this week for a quick call, let me know your name. That's it. Very simple. I want you to send very simple, very short emails to prospects in order to have a phone call with them. Don't attach a proposal. Don't send sales material. The more you send them, the less likely the sale is to happen. Then when they finally agree to meet, you're going to engage in a discovery meeting, not a sales pitch. You are not there to sell them anything. You are there to learn about them. Think of yourself as an investigative journalist, as a reporter, and you are trying to uncover exactly who their audience is, exactly who their target customer is. You want to learn how their customers make a purchase, what marketing they're involved in now, and how the company measures whether or not their marketing is successful. Sponsors are not investors. They are marketers. So you want to fully understand who they're marketing to, what products they're trying to get that audience to purchase, and whether or not you can help them do that better, cheaper, or in higher quantities. The discovery meeting is all about you asking questions, all about you discovering what they're trying to achieve. You should speak maybe 20% of this meeting, and 90% of the things you say should end in a question mark. You should be asking lots and lots of questions. At the end of the discovery meeting, you can then say, "I think we can help you achieve X faster, better, cheaper, all of the above. Would it be helpful if I went through some of the things that we could do together?" That's when you can share with them your activation ideas. And inevitably, they're going to ask you for a proposal. So if you would like some more discovery questions or even our discovery script, again, we make that available for free over at sponsorshipcollective.com. Now, at the end of this meeting, your potential sponsor is going to ask you for a proposal. It's almost inevitable. And so what you're going to say is, "Absolutely, I'm going to put together a proposal. Tell me exactly what I should put in that proposal. And exactly what budget range were you thinking?" You want to get this information from the prospect. And then once they tell you the answer to these questions, you're going to, bam, fam. You're going to book a meeting from a meeting. Never end a discovery meeting by saying, "I'll send you a proposal." End the discovery meeting with, "That sounds great. I'm going to put together a proposal. Why don't I put together a draft and I'll share it with you? Does that work for you?" They're going to say, "Yes." They just invited you to send a proposal. Then you're going to say, "How does Tuesday at 3:00 work? So we can go over the draft together and I can just make sure that I got everything right." Bam fam, or book a meeting from a meeting, will tell you whether or not the prospect is really interested. If they're really interested, they're going to say, "Absolutely, let's go over this together." If they're putting up smoke screens and feigning interest, they're going to say, no, just send it over and I'll get back to you at some point." You do not want to leave your discovery meeting without booking a meeting from a meeting. If you do, Mark my words, you will be ghosted by that sponsor, and you're going to end up chasing them for weeks, maybe months, until they eventually send you that letter that says, we've decided to go another way. Once your proposal has been accepted and you sign on the dotted line, you're going to bill them, and then you're going to deliver. In other words, you're going to do everything that you said you were going to do. And you're going to document it and take photographs of it and get samples of everything you told the sponsor you were going to do. Why? Because the most valuable thing you could possibly give a sponsor is a fulfillment report. A fulfillment report is literally a list of all of the things you said you were going to do and whether or not you delivered, and whether or not you over-delivered or under-delivered. You're going to show them pictures as proof that you did all the things you said you would do. You're going to show them clips of media if you promised media, screenshots of social media, screenshots of your website, anything you can do to put in this report to prove that you did exactly what you said you would do. Because when you deliver the fulfillment report, you're going to get all the feedback from your sponsor, and you have a golden opportunity now to close them into another sponsorship offer, to move them up to a more expensive sponsorship offer, or the holy grail, to get them into a multi-year agreement. In sponsorship parlance, we call this renewal. And if you provide that fulfillment report within a week of your sponsorship offer, your campaign, your season ending, you provide that fulfillment report, have a meeting, and get their okay to submit a new proposal, booking a meeting from a meeting to deliver that proposal, then you're securing next year's sponsorship revenue within a week of the season ending. No more chasing sponsors. No more wondering if you're going to be able to afford the season. No more wondering how much money you're going to be able to bring in. The fulfillment report and renewal strategy is the way to grow and sustain your sponsorship offer over time. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so that you get notifications, and down below, share your biggest takeaway. Let me know the biggest thing that you're going to change, that you're going to do more of, or that you're going to do less of. And if you want any of the templates that I talked about in today's video, head on over to sponsorshipcollective.com and you can download them in our free resources section. And remember, the sponsorship proposal does not make the sale. You do. Good luck out there.